Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Not Your Average Glow Up. This is a safe place where we come and we talk all things mental health. If you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha. I'm happy to have you. If you're not new here, welcome back. Always happy to have you. Today, you are getting a more studious version of me. I recently found out, very recently, just a couple days ago, found out that I have been going through my Saturn return, literally the months between February of this year and October of this year. Very recently have been going through my Saturn return. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so it gives you roughly a timeline for me. And now that I know that I had been going through my Saturn return within those months, everything is more or less making sense. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you probably have noticed a huge shift in my content, in my philosophies, in my way of speaking, in how I identify as a person, politically, religiously, pretty much every aspect of my life. You will notice a dramatic shift in how I used to portray myself towards the more beginning of this channel to now. You might have also noticed a big shift in my view count on my videos and a big shift in the way I communicate and carry myself. Well, I noticed those things. In fact, I just uploaded a video yesterday, not wearing any makeup or anything, it's more vlog style, sitting in my bed, where I was talking about how recent life changes and philosophies of life have greatly affected my friends and how it's affected my interpersonal relationships. So I've noticed a shift, but the shift has left me feeling hella confused, really turbulent. My mental health has been so-so. I made it, okay? But there's been a big life shift for me in the last couple of months. And I just was like, where the hell is all of this coming from? I knew that I was getting older. I knew that for a year or two now, I've been going through a little bit of a spiritual awakening and things like that. So things have been transitioning for me for a while, but really these last few months have been nuts. And everyone around me has mentioned it, you are a completely different person as of recently. Some people love the person that I am now. Some people hate it and have moved away and fallen out of my life. That's what I talked about in my last video. But anyways, so the other day I was listening to Russell Brand speak on his YouTube channel. I really love him. He's fantastic. But I was listening to him speak, and he just casually mentioned Saturn returns. And then I remembered watching BC Cerna's Pursuing Purpose podcast months and months ago. There was an episode where Charlotte from the Deja Blue podcast was on there, and she was talking to Matt Daher from Yes Theory and BC about their lives, and they pulled some cards or what have you. And I remembered very vaguely, she mentioned something about a Saturn return. So these are a Saturn return is something that has come up in conversation for me before, but it's nothing that I've ever deep dive and studied until literally a few days ago. So this video is going to be me info dumping on you. So if that's not your vibe, if you don't like that, then, politely fuck off. I'm joking, don't fuck off. But, if that isn't your vibe, if you don't want, a more educational type video, then come back for my usual content. But me personally, these are my favorite kind of conversations. I have a little bit of a professor kink. So I thoroughly enjoy when people can teach me something. So my favorite sort of conversations are when people have like recently gone down like an internet wormhole, and then they just like dump all of the info that they learned, or they've read a book and then they want to share what they've learned. Like, those are my favorite sort of conversations. So if you also like those kind of conversations, you'll thoroughly enjoy this video, because this video is going to be very educational. I have notes in front of me about like what is a Saturn return, because it's a term that I've heard a billion times, but I didn't understand it until recently. And then also I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the Saturn return, and then I'm going to pull some oracle cards for you to get some advice on how you can make the best of your Saturn return, how it can benefit you the most. So this is gonna be a juicy one. It's gonna be good. I'm excited about it. So yeah, okay. So a Saturn return in a nutshell, it is when you're born, when you're born, planets and stars and everything are all aligned in a specific way. That's why when people say they do not believe in astrology, the first thing I ask them is, have you looked up your birth chart? So this video is all astrology. So if you're not interested in astrology, then you probably won't like this video. But I do encourage you to stay, because I have found in my conversations with people that pretty much every person that I've met who has said they didn't believe in astrology, they had not looked into their birth chart. And when I encouraged them to look into their birth chart and I went over their birth chart, they were like, holy shit, this is crazy accurate. Astrology is so much more than just your sun sign. Like, it is way more complex. It is a science. So it's very complex. So the first thing you want to do when diving into astrology is looking at your full birth chart. In order to do that, you need to know your time of birth and the exact location of where you were born. And then it's as simple as just Googling things. The internet's a wonderful thing. And if you're watching this video, you have access to the internet. So jump on it. So you're going to go onto Google and you're going to type in birth chart calculator. Or you can download, I really like the app CoStar, because it downloads your chart, but then you can also add friends and it compares your charts and your compatibilities and stuff. I have CoStar. If you guys want to add me on CoStar, cool. I like looking at people's birth charts. It's fun for me. It's a great conversation starter. Anyways, so go onto Google with the knowledge of when the time you were born and where you were born, and you just type in that info, and then the nice, wonderful little Google machine will calculate it up and it'll give you your full chart. And then it'll give you your sun, your moon, your ascendant, your Mercury, your this, your that, because I'm a Taurus sun. That's what, like, when you don't have any knowledge of astrology, most people know, okay, your sun sign, because it's just based strictly on your birthday, okay? So I'm a Taurus sun, which means that I present predominantly as a Taurus. So when you meet a Taurus woman, I have 5 of them within my close friend group. For some reason, I really get along with other Tauruses. You will notice a lot of similarities between all of us, but then you'll notice your subtle differences. And this is why a lot of people don't believe in astrology, because they'll be like, okay, you're a Taurus, your friend Alex is a Taurus, your friend Jenna's a Taurus, your friend Ashley's a Taurus, your ex-best friend Sierra's a Taurus, so much so that you guys shared a birthday. But I see some similarities, like you guys are all down to earth, you're very much so home buddies, you're very chill, very calm, whatever. You kind of give like nurturing, motherly, sort of sensual energy, but you're also quite different. So I don't believe in astrology, because you're all Tauruses and you're so fucking different. That's because you have a full chart. So you have other placements in your chart, like your moon sign. I am a I am a Capricorn moon. So my internal person, the person that I think of myself as, the person when there's no masking, my guard is down, and like no one else is around, I tend to be more of a Capricorn. As to where some of those other people, they might have like an Aries moon or a Libra moon, which dramatically changes how we view each other and how other people perceive us and how we navigate the world. Your rising sign is the mask that you put on is your rising or your ascendant. Those two terminologies are kind of interchangeable. So you sometimes will hear it as ascendant or as a rising. So your rising or your ascendant is the mask you wear in a social situation. So it's how you present yourself. I present as a Gemini because I am a Gemini rising. So a lot of people that does not know me on a personal level at all and just meets me like at a party, they'll assume I'm a Gemini because I'm very malleable and I kind of just shift the way I conversate and the way I carry myself with like whom I'm talking to. Okay, so there's so much more to astrology, and those are just your big three. It goes way deeper. It goes through all the placements, everything. Your Mercury is kind of how you communicate. Mine is an Aries, so I communicate like an Aries. Whatever. What your Saturn, which is in your birth chart, you can look it up. So I'm strongly encouraging you look up your birth chart. It's as simple as Google. Okay, look up your birth chart. Your Saturn only shifts into that exact same placement that it was in when you were born once every 29 years. Okay, so your Saturn return literally just means when Saturn, the planet of Saturn, is in the same placement that it was upon your birth, okay? That's what it means literally, like scientifically. Now, what that means for you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, like what a Saturn return does for you, that's what this video is about today, okay? So your Saturn return happens every 29 or so years. It usually happens between the ages of 28 and 30, and then again between the ages of 57 and 60, okay? So your very first Saturn return that you will happen around the age of 30. The midlife crisis is all about a Saturn return. That is the reason for your midlife crisis. Saturn is the planet of, how do I explain this in like layman's term? Saturn to me is the teacher planet. It's kind of like the big daddy planet. It is tough love energy. The sign, the like astrological sign, the horoscope sign that is ruled by Saturn is Capricorn. So I vibe with Saturn energy because I am a Capricorn moon. That's a big placement within my chart. So I like Saturn energy. Like I said, I have a little bit of that like teacher kink. So I like to learn, I like to expand, I like to grow. My life journey is very much so growth mindset. So I really enjoy this energy. So when the moon and stuff shifts, like into Saturn, I really enjoy that energy for me personally. Anyways, so Saturn is the planet of like tough love. So when you have your Saturn return, when it shifts back into that same placement that it was in around the time of your birth, it's kind of like the planets, the universe, kind of becomes like a dad. And dad's roles, traditionally speaking, the husband and the wife, the mother and the father, these are not about like gender roles. This is energy. We're speaking of like masculine and feminine energies. These are not genders here. But the fatherly role is more of like the disciplinarian. It's more of the the teacher, the person. Dads tend to be a little more tough love because they're the ones that are like kind of shoving you in the right direction, as to when motherly energy is more of nurture you and care for your emotional well-being. The fatherly energy is more about like your direction in life, like the physical things, the pentacle energy. So when you have your Saturn return, it's kind of like the universe is like, all right, anything that is unaligned, anything that is not within your life's purpose, anything that is keeping you from your growth, from your purpose in life, has got to go. Like it's done, it's finished. We are gonna make it slip away. I believe in a little bit of free will, but I also believe in fate. And astrology deeply kind of aligns with fate. Like, yes, you have free will and you can like postpone like your purpose and like your direction in life, but it's already kind of written for you. You're gonna get there. You might just take the long road around it, okay? So I really enjoy astrology because it's kind of a tool to help guide me through life. I don't believe you make wrong decisions. I believe that every decision you make in life is just going to teach you something, and it's not necessarily the wrong path, it's just the more complicated one. So I believe astrology, when utilized correctly, can actually be quite helpful in helping you pursue your purpose and help you get on track. So my Saturn return happened February to October of this year. Okay, so just like I just came out of it, it's November now. I've had a little bit of time to study it and reflect upon it and see, what does this mean? So in my birth chart, Saturn, the planet Saturn, is in the 9th house under the sign of Aquarius. For me personally, that's going to be different for everyone. But how this can help you navigate your Saturn return, make it easier on you, because Saturn returns are always for growth. It's that fatherly, loving energy. But if you resist the change that Saturn return is going to force you to have to move you from your adolescence into your adulthood, if you resist that change, it's going to be bad, because it's going to happen regardless. Like if you are resistant to the nudgings of the universe and what they're trying to show you and how they're trying to help you heal and grow, there's going to be a ripple effect. There's going to be events that happen that kind of force your hand in it. So it's I've heard it said it's time to grow up or suffer the consequences of your refusal to change. Like, that is Saturn return. So it's funny because culturally speaking, especially here in America, we kind of view our adulthood at 18, which I think is completely ridiculous. I think it's asinine. I believe mentally, emotionally, you are not an adult at 18 at all. Saturn return is kind of your transition mentally and emotionally from your adolescence into adulthood. So it's kind of when you start to feel more like an adult, when you start to perceive yourself more as an adult. This has been a big thing for me recently. Up until literally a few months ago, I had still felt like a child, like a teenager, just navigating the world. What is adulting? What is peopling? What the fuck? I still haven't got it all figured out, because it's not like a Saturn return is this magical switch in your brain. It's not. It's a process. And it's the whole year around this couple of months that you're going to notice the biggest shift in you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But those couple of months, there's going to be some big life events that happen that kind of force your hand in it. That is a Saturn return. So mine happened recently. And if you want to be nosy and look back at my channel and watch my videos, you'll kind of see the specific events that kind of forced my hand. My Saturn is in the 9th house. The 9th house is the house in astrology of philosophy and higher wisdom. So the theme, the overall arching theme of my specific Saturn return is discovering who I am from a philosophical standpoint. So it makes sense when you go back and you watch my videos how much I've changed with my political views, my religious views, the way I carry myself, my philosophy of life has dramatically changed over these last couple of months because of my Saturn return. That is the house that my Saturn return is in. For experimental purposes, when I was researching this, I also messaged one of my friends who likes astrology and asked her about her Saturn return because I knew she was around the same age as me, so I knew she was going through hers. She either had been through hers or was going to come up on hers soon. So I wanted to, get an idea of hers. And I was like, I already knew her birth chart. So I was like, hey, your Saturn is in the 11th house, which is like the house of like friendship and stuff like that. So like, tell me about your Saturn return, because I wanted to like see if I was fully understanding what a Saturn return was, and I was. And basically for her, she had one of her closest friends like fuck her over big time, and I won't throw all of her business out there, but her Saturn return very much so was about the placement of where Saturn was in her birth chart. And then I looked at Dakota, which is the father of my kids. I looked at his Saturn return. He's 35, so his happened a while back. His Saturn return actually happened back in 2016, December of 2016. And by the way, you can type in Saturn return calculator after you look at your birth chart and you find where Saturn is in your birth chart. You can then go to Google and type in Saturn return calculator, and it'll tell you the exact like time frame of your Saturn return. So I looked at his happened back in December of 2016. He's not into astrology or anything like that, so he didn't know that he was going through his Saturn return at that time. I was with him at that time, and you know what his Saturn return was that time frame is when he used to work for a friend. His, by the way, was in what was his house? I don't remember the house, but I remembered it was something about like communication and stuff like that and whatever. But anyways, his was about like career. His house, like placement in his chart was like communication and navigation and this, that, and the other. And his Saturn return, like the events that happened within that time frame, was he was working for a friend, and he asked for a raise because he had, like really learned a lot. He had been doing flooring and stuff for quite some time or whatever. His friend decided to not give him a raise and kind of fucked him over. So that was the time when he lost a job, but losing that job forced him to start his own business, and now he is one of the most successful flooring and tile guys in our area. Like, you look up Flooring to Perfection in Jackson County, Florida, and he's very, very, very well known because he's really good at what he does. But if those events wouldn't have happened, which at the time I remember clearly when he decided to part ways with his partner, it was very, very, very scary because he was a single dad with no support from Cody and Vanessa's mom. He is fresh out of prison, so he was living with his mom at the time and didn't have a house of his own. He had this crappy car that like broke down all the time, and now he was deciding to start a business on his own from ground zero as a felon. So his reputation wasn't great. You know what I mean? So it was a really, really, really difficult time for him. But now looking back at it, reflecting, that time made him who he is today as an adult. It took him from his adolescence, his wild party stage, and being a single dad, in and out of jail, doing drugs, partying, whatever, into now having full custody of kids, being a very successful business owner, owning a house, everything else. So his Saturn return was huge for him. We looked that up last night. I thought that was pretty interesting. So this video is strongly encouraging you, look up your birth chart calculator, look up your Saturn return. If you are creeping up on 30, It's so good. Look it up. If you have gone through Saturn Return already, still look it up, study it. Like, it's awesome. If you have not, study it, because this can help you easier navigate your Saturn return. So for me, mine was about philosophy, ways of life. The events that happened within my Saturn return was I went through a huge breakup within that time frame. Me and Dakota broke up. I moved in with my friend Jenna. You can watch these videos and catch up. I also had a crisis of identity when it came to religion. Over these last few months, I went from somebody who was raised as a very devout Christian, and now I identify more as agnostic. I am definitely still very spiritual, but it's less about, for me, less about an external God and more of the vibration of love and the God within all of us is more or less what I believe in now. My Saturn is in the 9th house, which is philosophy and higher wisdom, and it's under the sign of Aquarius, which is a little bit different. Aquarius energy is very creative. They are very much so like black sheep. They think very differently. They're very philosophical. They're like wanderers. Kind of alien vibes. So it makes sense now that that's how I would view life, is more from a forever wondering, forever growing. There is no absolutes. There is no definites for me. My religion now is exploration. That is my religious beliefs, and my political beliefs have greatly shifted as well. I was raised in a very conservative Christian home. My mother was a children's pastor. My dad was born and raised in the Bible Belt. My stepdad, anyways, I refer to him as my dad because he raised me. So I was baptized in a Christian church. I used to sing on the worship team, all of that. Now, to be clear, I respect all religion, including Christianity. There's zero resentment whatsoever. I find a lot of truth within it, as I do find a lot of truth within other religions as well. I just also find a lot of falsities and a lot of contradictions and a lot of immorality in it. So if you are a Christian that watches my channel, my recent shift in philosophy might have thrown you off. That might be why my viewer count dramatically dropped, because I had a lot of Christians and stuff in my circle of friends and stuff over the last year or so when Saturn was, come back for me. A lot of that fell away, and that's because I think the person I am today, sitting here, and though my way of viewing religion and politics and my philosophies of life is whom I had always been at my core. I had always questioned my upbringing and my parents' political views, and I was that girl that in church really pissed off the youth pastor and stuff, because they would be like, oh, this, and I'd be like, but why? I wasn't afraid to question the things that were taught to me religiously, politically, and that always kind of pissed people off. And that is very much so Aquarius energy, and my Saturn is in Aquarius, so it now makes a lot of sense. So I think in college and late high school, I very much so already started this journey, but it really amped up over the last few years. But if you are a Christian or a Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever, if you do have an organized religion that you follow, I want you to know that this channel will always be a non-judgmental and a safe place for you to come. And I want you to talk openly and freely about your beliefs. You will never be judged here. my beliefs have shifted from a very closed-minded perspective where I'm Christian, the Christian God is the only way, Christianity is right, everyone else is wrong, to a more open belief system. So, yeah. Okay, anyways. So now that I kind of gave you a rundown of what a Saturn return is, now I'm going to encourage you to calculate your birth chart and look up when your Saturn return is so I can help you navigate your Saturn return. So, first things first, I'm the realist. Okay, anyway, sorry, that was a song. First things first, I'm the realist. Okay, anyways, now I'm going to pull some cards for you guys at home that might be watching this and curious about your Saturn return. And I'm going to pull some cards and see what advice you need for your Saturn return. Like what you're going to learn during your Saturn return, what spirit, the universe, God, your angels, ancestors, whatever it is that you believe in and identify with, what lessons they're going to be teaching you during your Saturn return and how you can best navigate that. So I'm going to predominantly be using my astrology cards and my moonology cards because we are talking about astrology. Oh, I also put some books here that I have been reading during my Saturn return. They helped me navigate my Saturn return because mine was about philosophy and higher wisdom. So some of the books that I read during my Saturn return was Astrology 101. It still confuses me, I'm not going to lie. I'm not the best with astrology. The Celestial Prophecy, which is a fictional book, but it has a lot of themes about religion and philosophy and God and spirituality and all of that. Will Smith's new book, well, I have not finished this one yet, but what I've read thus far is quite good. I really like Will Smith. I really like Russell Brand. There are a few celebrities that their spiritual beliefs and their philosophies of life have really, really positively impacted me and encouraged me down a different way of thinking. The Artist's Way, this book was actually one that I had read way back in high school. I used to love this book. And then recently Matt Daher from Yes Theory was talking about it, in his voice note, and I was like, God, I haven't read that book in forever. I really loved that book. So I looked it up on thriftbooks.com and I reread it, and I reread it in like 2 days. I fucking love that book. And then another one that I've been reading is Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. This book was suggested by Blue Charlotte from the Deja Blue podcast. She talks about this book all the freaking time. I had been wanting to read it for like a year. I finally just got a used copy. I have not finished this one, nor have I finished Will. I keep flipping between the two. I have a little bit of ADHD when it comes to reading. It's really difficult for me to sit down and just read a book from start to finish. I used to be able to. But yeah. Those books have been fantastic. So if you want some good reading material, especially if your Saturn return is also in the 9th house, these are some good ones. Those are some goodies. But I've also started, around that time started listening to a lot more podcasts. I started going back to church for a little bit. I started digging into my Bible because it wasn't just like I was moving out of Christianity. I wanted to find the similarities and the differences between all religions. I actually tapped into the Quran a little bit, read a little bit of that. I started looking up Buddhism, it was just a thing. It was a thing. I went through a crisis of identity when it came to religion, okay? Anyways, what do the people at home need to know about their Saturn return? Expect powerful change. Well, no shit. That's what a Saturn return is. It was kind of, all right. A new start. Okay, a powerful change, a new start. All right, Spirit, can we get a little bit more specific, please? nothing will come of this situation, in reverse. So how I read that is when you go through your Saturn return, you might be overthinking, you might really, really stress things, and things might seem a lot worse than they actually are. A lot of fear might bubble up within you. That nothing will come of this situation doesn't mean like nothing will happen. It means your mind might be overthinking and overcomplicating things, creating fear where there really is no need for it. A win-win outcome. Well, yeah, this is very straightforward. I'm definitely gonna have to pull some more cards. Adjustments are required. No shit. This is all like literally just reiterating everything I just said about a Saturn return. Emotions are running high. Yeah. The energy is gaining momentum. Okay, so this is really just reiterating all the things that I just said about a Saturn return, that it is to jumpstart a new way of life for you. It's the way you perceive yourself and your identity before around that age, and the way you perceive yourself after your Saturn return is significantly different. This is why I never understood the Western society view of you need to have a successful career, have college complete, start a family, and get married and all that stuff before the age of 30. It makes no sense, because your Saturn return is going to dramatically shift the way you see yourself. So it actually makes more sense to wait until after your Saturn return to make those big life decisions, to like have kids, to get married, what you're going to be when you grow up, all that. Because the decisions, and this was very, very, very true for me, still is, I still am being, in fact, greatly impacted by my Saturn return even after the fact. Things that I learned in my Saturn return is that I am not the person that I perceived myself to be, politically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or whatever. And I made a lot of big life decisions before this. I am a mother of 2. I am engaged to be married. We called off the wedding, but I've been with the father of my kids for the last 8 years, and this, that, and the other. And a big thing, anything unaligned must go. Spoiler alert, I found out during my Saturn return that this life isn't mine. This is not what I want. It's not who I am. He has severely different views than me. This life that I built for myself because of external pressure, feeling like I needed to get married, feeling like I need to have a good spouse, that I needed to have a home, that I need to have my foundation set, that I need to be a stable grown adult by the age of 30. I fell into a trap, and I created a life for myself that does not align with who I actually am as a person. So my Saturn return is a lot about leaving my old way of life behind and shifting into who I am. And I resisted a lot of that change during my Saturn return. I moved out. I made the right decisions because I felt those nudgings. I moved out. I broke up with Dakota. I started figuring out who I was spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And then because change is scary, I fell into that trap of fear. I went back to my comfort zone. I moved back in with him, and now I'm reaping the consequences of that because Dakota's not aligned with me anymore. This house is not aligned with me. The Christian religion is not aligned with me. And anything that's unaligned, it's got to go, or you're just gonna keep running into the same problems over and over and over again. Same karmic lessons. I'm done with karma. I'm tired of it. So I'm making the choice. I'm gonna get through the holidays. It's Thanksgiving's tomorrow. And then I'm gonna set out on a new adventure, and I have no fucking idea what that means. I don't have a stable career. I won't have a house. I won't have a lot of things, and that's really fucking scary. So I'm doing this reading to help you avoid this, okay? So tap in, please. Learn from my mistakes, okay? But like I said earlier, you don't make wrong choices, you just take the harder route. I'm stubborn as fuck, I took the harder route, okay? Okay, don't do that. So when you go through your Saturn return, it's gonna very much so be a huge shift for you, because we have a new start is coming, expect a powerful change, a win-win outcome, emotions will be running very high, nothing will come of this because you're gonna be like facing a lot of fear. And yeah, so now let's see more specifics. I'm tapping into the astrological cards now. Maybe see what sign your Saturn is under. What sign? People at home. Okay, so this isn't signs. Sagittarius is a sign, so maybe your Saturn is in Sagittarius, but that won't resonate for everybody watching. But this is more of an energy of your Saturn return, like the theme around it. It may be a huge shift. Sagittarius and Venus. So what this says to me is that your Saturn return will greatly revolve around your love life and your sex life. So maybe your Saturn in your birth chart is, what house is that? What house is that? Is it the 8th house, I think? I believe it's the 8th house. Like I said, I'm still pretty new to astrology. I believe it's the 8th house that is like sex and like deeper connection. So maybe your Saturn is within the 8th house, and you will be really transforming your romantic relationships and the way you approach and view romantic relationships. Sagittarius energy is very much so explorative and slightly non-committal. Sagittarius, once they find the one and they settle down, but it's very difficult, especially in their adolescence, to get a Sagittarius to settle down, because they're wanderers, they're very explorative, they're gypsy souls, and they can be non-committal and they can be cheaters. So maybe prior to your Saturn return, you are somebody who prefers light-hearted, more fun romantic relationships. Like maybe you're somebody who more or less and prefers like sleeping around or whatever. Sun, Sagittarius again, huh? Neptune. Oh shit, I was reading this as Sagittarius the whole time, but this is Saturnus. So that's Saturn, like your Saturn return. That's funny. Okay, but the funny part is that Sagittarius card did come out after channeling all that. That's hilarious. Okay, so yeah, so this is going to be positive change because Sun came out. The soul, Sun energy is that's Saturn energy. It is that tough love, that's masculine energy. Sagittarius is like higher learning and exploration. Neptune is, what is Neptune's energy? I'm not going to take this one because I don't want to speak on something if I don't know it. And I don't remember what Neptune's energy is. I see a lot of, in this card, I see a lot of depiction of like water and stuff. So it might be like, there's stars and then there's like water imagery, like seahorses and stuff. So I'm going to assume channeling only because I don't remember what Neptune's energy is. I'm going to assume that means for you personally at home that your Saturn return is going to be about your love life. It's going to be about higher learning and exploration. But water energy is about connection and emotions. So you're going to be learning that romantic relationship sex can be very, very emotionally and spiritually connected. I believe that sex spiritually is the joining of souls. That when you have sex with somebody, that you can tap into their vibration and their frequency, and you can learn something from one another. I believe maybe when you go through your Saturn return, you're gonna find a partner, possibly your twin flame, and you're gonna be learning like the higher purposes for sex and sexual exploration, and maybe practicing like tantric sex or things of that nature, or maybe just taking your sexual relationships a little bit more seriously because there's the Saturn energy. Maybe becoming more committal. But it's definitely going to be fun. It's going to be good because of that Sun card. So self-care cards, because you're going to need self-care during this, because it's not going to be an easy lesson to learn. Make an altar. Yeah, stay grounded, meditate. Whatever higher power you believe in, whether that is an external higher power like a god or a deity, or whether that be your higher self and that love, that higher frequency within you, make an altar, make it a point to tap into that frequency. Russell Brand was actually talking when I was listening to him speak this morning while I was doing the dishes. He was talking about how we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Therefore, it makes sense that our spirituality, our spiritual practice should not be secondary. It should not be, we focus on work and health and this, that, and the other, and then we focus on our spiritual health. Spirituality should actually be our main course. That should be how we start our day and how we end our day. We should bookend our everyday practice with tuning into our spiritual selves. So what else? Watch a movie. Maybe during that time you're gonna need to chill a little bit, Netflix and chill, maybe get inspired by other movies. Since your theme is love and stuff, maybe you'll be inspired at that time by like some rom-coms or whatever. Maybe see some truth in that. Nourish your temple. Yeah, this time it's going to be really, really important for you to take care of your body, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Remember that everything is interconnected, that your spiritual, mental, emotional health is all connected to the way you eat, the way you nurture yourself. Sex in reverse. So yeah, this really reiterates that right now, before your Saturn return, you kind of have some warped ideologies and beliefs around sex. And this is no judgment, okay, baby? Maybe you kind of view sex as a means to an end. Like, I get you off, you get me off. Like, I know what I'm doing, baby. You come, I come. Like, this is going to be gratifying. And, like, you just very much so view it as a physical connection. I think you're going to be waking up to this spiritual impact of sex. Movement, yeah. So maybe you're going to get moving in that avenue. Music reversed. Okay, let me meditate on this for a minute. Okay, so maybe it is going to be very much so like a tantric sex thing for you. Maybe that's something that you might come across during your Saturn return. Like, maybe you might find a partner who is open to the idea of exploring sex from a more spiritual standpoint. So you might put on like some meditation music, like some binaural beats. And maybe stay grounded. And says connect with your ancestors in reverse. Connect with crystals. So you're going to be healing some ancestral trauma revolved around love and relationships. So maybe within your family tree or whatever, there's been a pattern of not so healthy ways of thinking and viewing sex and romance. Maybe your parents had affairs or something, and that negatively impacted you as a small child. Made you non-committal, whatever. Sweet treat. Yeah. I think you're going to be learning that there is a sweetness to love and romantic relationships when approached from a more reverent standpoint. When you view your body and your partner's body as a temple, as like a church. I just heard that Hozier song, that take me to church. Okay, so anyways, now the song's just playing in my head. But maybe you're gonna be around that time period. Like, I keep hearing twin flame. So maybe you're gonna be meeting your twin flame around your Saturn return. Oh, if you are, I'm so sorry. Twin flame relationships are so triggering, and then Saturn returns are so triggering. So if you meet your twin flame around your Saturn return, please try to stay grounded, meditate, heal, stay in touch with your spiritual self, and remember that this is all serves a purpose. There is a lesson in all of it. Try to not judge your twin flame so much, because they're going to be triggering your wounds, and the Saturn return is going to be triggering you as well. There's a higher calling in this. You're going to be loosening your grip on past beliefs and addiction. It literally says coping mechanisms, destiny, addiction, let God in. Whoo! So maybe you have an addiction to sex. Which is funny, I actually watched a movie on Netflix 2 nights ago called, what's it called? What is it called? There's a movie on Netflix, it's like a rom-com where the main character, Matt, whatever his name is, he was in 13 going on 30. I can never remember his name. Matt something. Anyways, in this movie, he is a sex addict, and he goes to like a AA sort of meeting where he's like, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm addicted to sex, and he's like 5 years sober from like his sexual addiction. So which means like he had not had sex in like 5 years, because when he did, he was really, really toxic. Like, he was sleeping with hookers, and he was cheating, and he was having affairs, and he was like addicted to porn and this, that, and the other. Now this is very extreme. So you at home, you might not be to this extreme, but when this loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, destiny, addiction, let God in. So maybe to an extent you will relate to this. Like, maybe you have an addiction to sex. Maybe you have a more primal, animalistic way of approaching sex, which, I mean, is fine. It's fine. I don't want to like put myself out there like that, but a little bit of kink is fun, as long as it's consensual, and as long as you're not harming anyone. And that's fine to approach sex in that way. You can be kinky, you can, practice like BDSM and power play and stuff like that. But this speaks more about your mental and emotional state when approaching sex, and less about your kinks. So this is more of a transformation as the way you view sex and you view the partner. They are not just a means to an end. They are not just a body for you to use for your pleasure. They are a human with a soul and emotions. And I feel like you're going to be starting to see that, and you're going to start to approach your romantic relationships from more of a place of a reverence, from more of an appreciation. You're going to start to view your partner as a spiritual being. I just heard holy even. So maybe you're going to meet somebody who, kind of like an earth angel, somebody whom you're like, I don't feel like I can treat them like that. Like there's something deeper to this. It says, learn how to be human in the world, but not of it. Yeah, because you had a very worldly view of sex prior. This is a very specific reading. I wasn't expecting it to be so specific. Deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. You might be, this is a big message. If you don't want a baby, if you're not looking into becoming a father or a mother during the time of your Saturn return, use protection, because a Saturn return can be big life events that make you view the world from a different perspective. For me personally, my children, this did not happen during my Saturn return, but the birth of my children dramatically changed the way I view the world, the way I view life, the way I started to see the way I wanted to approach myself and my mental health and their mental health and all of that. So this will always be used for good. So if you do have an unwanted pregnancy or whatever during your Saturn return, it will be used for good. It'll be used for your growth and your healing. But if you do not want an unwanted pregnancy, be careful, use protection, because this is a lot about like sexual exploration and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. So before you find that person that makes you want to settle down and have that deeper connection, you might hook up with somebody and get pregnant, because it says mother's milk, birth as a portal. So you could literally be bringing in a new life that is a portal to your spiritual awakening and your softening and your tenderness, which is a beautiful thing. But if you don't want a baby, fucking use protection is all I got to say. Okay, woo, that gave me so much anxiety. Light body, stargazing, crystal grid, transmission, activation. Yeah, and that came out at the same time. You might be bringing in a little star baby during your Saturn return. Whomever is watching this, look up your freaking birth chart and your Saturn return dates and make a note of it. And then after you go through your Saturn return, let me know if you got somebody knocked up during your Saturn return, please. Because the curious side of me is like, oh, you can bring in a baby? But if you do bring in a baby, try not to stress it too much, because the star bathing card came in, and it's about transmission and activation. This child, if you do bring in a child, is going to be so good for you. It's going to be medicine for you. It's going to help you settle down. It's going to help you see the world from a higher perspective. So it definitely don't, regret it or whatever, but it is what it is. But you might be bringing in a baby. Oh. Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. That was in reverse. So that's the second time an ancestor card has come up. I feel like your ancestors, maybe a past loved one, I just heard in my head like a grandparent has been trying to send you messages and you are not listening. So they might be sending you synchronistic numbers, like you might be seeing 222, 444, 555, 1111, whatever. And they're trying to give you like hints and clues, like, hey, this is happening. Don't resist it. Don't change. I just keep hearing over and over again throughout this whole reading, seek discomfort, seek discomfort, seek discomfort, seek discomfort, seek discomfort, which is very much so Yes Theory and their motto. I actually have their sticker right there. They're wonderful. Go check them out if you haven't. But you've been living out of your comfort zone. What's comfortable to you, you need to completely shake it up. Fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposite extremes of life. I just got goosebumps. Ooh. I don't know what kind of magical, wonderful, healing, freaking beautiful sex you're going to be having during your Saturn return, but I really feel like you're going to be meeting your twin flame or uniting with your twin flame. You might not, you might already know who your twin flame is, or have already met them, but the cosmic heart devotion potency, make your life a moving prayer. This is like sacred union sex. Like, you're gonna be like, I'm jealous. Whoever you are at home, I'm a little jealous. Like, this is beautiful. This is good stuff. Activated earth power places, trust where you're led. Share your song, the frequency of sound. That's another like music thing coming in. Child of the cosmos. If you don't want a child, use protection. Use protection. Okay, please. You're gonna have a baby. Share your song. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. This is overwhelming me, but it's really pretty. And I like this energy. This is gonna be a difficult time for you. It might freak you the fuck out. You're gonna have a lot of fears and emotions rising up. But just remember, Saturn return is so transformative. It's so beautiful. It's all about taking you from your adolescent self into your adult self. I do want to say though that it's not a magical switch. It's not like okay, I'm a child, now I'm an adult. It is not just like those couple of months and then you just magically are an adult. And adulthood doesn't mean that you have to be serious and pragmatic and rigid and you just have to have everything figured out. That's not adulthood. I would actually argue that in order to have a healthy adult life, you very much so have to keep your sense of play and your inner child very much so alive. So please don't get trapped into this mindset that, okay, I'm approaching my Saturn return, now I have to be an adult. It is the exact opposite. Your Saturn return is going to naturally do the work for you. You don't have to have it figured out by 30, so don't freak yourself out if you're approaching 30, okay? I love you. I hope you have a happy and a wonderful day. I hope this helps. Dude, if this resonates for you, please comment. Please, please, please. My nosy self wants to know so bad, okay? I love you and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.